is one of our interns inside the Joy of Coding Academy. So if you don't know, the Joy of Coding Academy helps problem solvers become six-figure software developers in 6 months. And we offer guaranteed internship experiences because we know that hands-on experience of actually building and delivering software that works to a client who's paying us for it is how you get those six-figure jobs, because you're already doing the work of a six-figure software developer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mo. I'm a software engineering student at Drew University, like Dr. Hill mentioned. I had her for both data structures and the software engineering course where she mentioned we worked with the client and all of that. I was primarily a front-end developer, never touched anything besides UI, user interface, and website design, stuff like that. And I got the really nice experience when I got the push from Dr. Hill to, can you please integrate Stripe for me and work as a full stack developer? I did in fact work as a full stack developer. But I'm actually really glad I listened and went in for it. It did take about 3 to 4 weeks to implement Stripe because in general, it's a very, very tough process dealing with payments, and you can't really leave room for error because you're dealing with people's sensitive private information. And I'm just really excited because after the 4 weeks we got it working. Even like Dr. Hill mentioned, we had an experience with an all-nighter, but it's awesome. I had a lot of fun because I was debugging. I wasn't alone, so that's really cool. I wasn't just sitting there bored. I was debugging with Dr. Hill and my fellow colleague, David Bobet, amazing software engineer, by the way. It's just overall a really fun experience. It was a lot, working from front end to set up the payment portal, for the user to pay from, to the back end where I'm setting up the products and test keys, live keys, all of that. It was definitely an interesting experience.
And just to kind of help everybody see, for those of you that aren't really, I don't know if everybody's heard of the word Stripe before, so just to take it up a level. So what Mo did is, we deliver software predominantly to startups. So companies that are just getting started, we get to build them from scratch. And so Mo was working on implementing the payment processing. All right. So now just to think about this for a second, how many interns do you know that get to work on something so critical to the client's infrastructure, right? For an actual software project? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in academia, in university. It doesn't happen at boot camps. It doesn't even happen at other tech companies, to be honest, because who's going to put their bread and butter flagship software in the hands of an untrained intern that is unpaid or partially paid? They're not going to do it. You're not going to get that experience. And that's what made this experience so different for Mo, was because we actually handed him an opportunity to be responsible for it.
In all honesty, I'm really thankful, even just being an intern. So thank you again, Dr. Hill. I got to meet with Coach Kyler Johnson and Adam, I believe his last name is Fanslow.
Yes.
Yes, they're both amazing software developers. Definitely have some years under their belt now. Again, I'm very, very thankful for the opportunity. Definitely would not have gotten this experience wherever. So, I learned a lot, very happy with that. And just to be, that kid who was kind of more worried about, am I going to be able to do this? I think I definitely have a career in software, and I'm very happy that I got to do this internship this summer.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am Dr. Emily. We are here live. Let me see it in the chat. Give me some emojis. Drop it in there. I love all the insights that we're hearing in the chat. That's so awesome. So I'm Dr. Emily. I'm the founder of TechJoy Software, based out of Northern New Jersey, outside of New York City. I'm a retired professor, or former professor, I should say, from Drew University and Montclair State University. And tonight we are here to talk about your six-figure coding career. All right. And I know there were some people in the room that have been doing the rounds of other boot camps. I hesitate to call us a boot camp because we are so different. But what I can share with you is you will not find this curriculum anywhere else because I invented it. So I am super excited to share this with you tonight. Thank you so much for sharing where you're from. If you can, I love knowing where you're from. Drop it in the chat. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. Now, I have a question for you. Who is ready to become a highly paid software developer this year? All right, can you drop it in the chat? Can you guys let me know? Awesome. Natalia raised her hand. I see Richard, Don, Chris. Awesome. So good. Shout out Alyssa. So great to see everybody here tonight. John, Jabron. Awesome. I love that conversation before we got started tonight. Nora, great to see you. Great to meet you. Richard, Eric. Awesome sauce, folks. Awesome sauce. So now I love this. So thank you so much for sharing that. You're raising your hands. You're typing in the chat. You're sharing who the action takers are, right? That's what we're looking for, is who's ready for this opportunity, right? Because some of you in the room tonight or watching this on replay are going to be, thinking about taking action, but maybe tonight is not the night. But I'm here and specifically talking to the people that are ready to become six-figure software developers, who are ready to start their six-figure career. And what if in the next 6 months, you could become a highly skilled software developer and start applying for these jobs in the high fives and six figures? And what if I told you that the road was simple and all you needed to do was show up for about 2 hours a day, remote, online? Would you guys want that roadmap? Type a yes in the chat, raise your hand, give me a Zoom reaction. Don's ready, super awesome. Richard's ready, Eric's ready, Scott's ready, Chris is ready, Rod is ready. Yes, let's do this. Super excited, folks. Oh my goodness. So excited. Because I have something special for you tonight that we have never done before. So I'm very excited. Now, you can take the professor out of the classroom, but you can't take the educator out of the professor. All right. And I want you guys to get a ton of value out of today's masterclass. And in fact, my former university students have paid over $49,000 for the information that I'm going to share with you tonight. All right. So let me ask you this, just for a second, right? Do you want this to be the moment where you're paying attention, or you're like, six-figure tech career, meh, I don't know if that's for me, right? Or do you want this to be the moment where you turn your future around for good, right? This is what's on the line tonight, guys. This is what's on the line. So I invite you to listen in. I invite you to listen in today, because that's what we're doing here, right? This is about your future, right? You might not feel it yet, but I promise you, by the end of this session with our time together tonight, you're not only going to see what's possible, you're going to know how to start creating your place in this new AI-powered tech world. Bold promise, I know. So, how can you get the most out of our time together tonight? Okay. So I want you guys to think about that for a second. So this is not one of those videos or webinars where I'm just passively I'm talking at you and you're passively listening, just letting everything go over you. No. Like, our purpose together today is to move you forward in whatever form that takes, right? So I'm just curious. So what can we do? Like, I'm asking you guys, I'm asking the room, how can you get the most out of our time together tonight? How do we get the most out of our learning, right? When you were in school, in class, I'm sure it wasn't listening to someone talk at you, right? How do we learn? How do we actually learn? Can you guys drop it in the chat? Let me know what's going to help us sink in tonight. What do we need to do with the information I'm going to share with you today? Awesome. Let me hear it. Let me see it. Do the thing. I love it. Yes, Alyssa. Being interviewed, interactive, and asking questions. Yes, Natalia. Yes, absolutely. We are not going to sit here passively and just let the information wash over us and take no action, right? We just show up and do the thing, all right? So what are we going to do? We're going to take action. You can do something. So we're on Zoom. So what opportunities are available to us here, right? If we were in a physical classroom together, you could raise your hand, you could take notes, right? But here on Zoom, we want to say it. We want to share it, right? we want to write it down and say it and put it in the Zoom chat. All right. And put it in the Zoom chat. And Eric, that's an awesome, awesome question. If you can drop it in the Q&A section, there's a little Q&A button on Zoom, and I'll make sure to answer it before the end of the night. All right. So my question for you is this: how many of you want to remember this strategy that I'm going to share with you tonight that my former university students paid $49,000 for? And that wasn't for the degree. That was just for the classes that I taught, right? Throughout tonight's masterclass, I'm going to be asking you questions and reminding you to write certain things down, or to answer questions, or to react and be interactive. And it's so that you can get the most out of it. Because tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how you can become an unstoppable AI developer and start earning 6 figures in the next year. Who's with me? Who's ready for that? Who is ready to launch their 6-figure career in the next 12 months? Yes, Alyssa, Richard, excellent, excellent. You can drop in the chat. You guys can give me emojis. Steven is, I love it. Super good, super good. Excellent, excellent. Before I share this strategy with you, is it cool if I share a little bit about my background, of how I learned to become a confident coder in tech? Is that cool with you guys? If you know me, you've heard this story before, but for those folks that have never met me before, I want to make sure to share it with you. Okay, awesome sauce, folks. Awesome sauce. And I'm going to share with you some of the, before I share this approach, I'm also going to share some of the wins that our students have been having lately, of why I'm so confident that the approach that I'm sharing with you tonight actually works. All right, folks. So can I get real with you guys just for a second? All right. Because I'm going to throw some big numbers at you. All right. Let me just lay it out there. $244,000. It's a big number. And 10 years. Almost $250,000 and a decade. That is how much it cost me to learn how to code. And I didn't stop with one computer science degree. I went on. I didn't get what I paid for. I didn't learn how to code in my first degree. So I thought, it must have just been that one. Let me go again. Has anyone ever done that? Right? You're like, oh, everybody says I should do this thing. I want to learn something, get a good job, go to college. And then you do it again and again and again. 3 times. 3 times. I got 3 computer science degrees. But here's the kicker. At the end of the day, I still had to teach myself. Okay? Talk about frustrating, folks, right? Talk about frustrating. All right? Just out of curiosity, can you guys throw it in the chat? How many of you have tried to learn to code, maybe even applied for jobs, and maybe didn't quite get it that first time? Anyone else like that? Anyone else with me on this? Oh my goodness. Yeah, Chris is. Yep. And I get it. Because I spent a whole freaking decade like living the academic life, hoping someone would teach me how to code, only to teach myself, right? Nearly $250,000 later, I spent on degrees, certifications, and research, learning how to crack the code on how people actually learn to build awesome software. All right, awesome software. And I'm telling you right now, a boot camp or a degree is not what's going to get you there. And right now, today, AI alone isn't either. More on that later. We'll get into it. All right. And just to put this into context, like, yes, I got my PhD. It took me 7 years. And no, it shouldn't have taken that long. And so after this frustration, I had my aha moment where everything clicked together. And I was so mad because it wasn't that hard and everyone had made it this big thing. I was like, it's not that hard. Why couldn't anyone have just explained it to me? It's pretty simple. You just do X, Y, Z. Done. Right. And I'm going to share some of those insights with you tonight. And so I went on a mission to learn how to teach absolutely anyone how to code from scratch and create amazing software. And the cool thing is, this approach that I figured out, it works even better with AI. So it's like awesome. It's so fire sauce. All right. And along the way, while I was on this mission to learn how to teach programming, I went in the only pathway that I could figure out, which was becoming a professor. And I published over 50 internationally peer-reviewed papers. I was invited to speak at Microsoft Research. I was cited thousands of times in software engineering and education. I earned best paper awards, most influential paper awards, distinguished paper awards, all the things. All of this was part of the hard way. But you don't need to follow that path. You don't need to spend 10 years learning how to code anymore. And in fact, AI has made this approach even faster. And to be honest, I didn't fully get it and appreciate all that I had learned until years later when something really incredible happened. Okay, so picture this. So I got all these degrees and I finally figured out how to code. Awesome. But nobody really taught me how to do it. I just figured it out. I figured out this new system, this new way of learning how to code. And then I wanted to teach it to others because all of the students I was teaching, all these college students, they had all come for the same thing I had. They were coming for computer science degrees to learn how to become software developers. And they were finding out painfully, just as I had, that the professors in degree programs weren't teaching them how to program. Full disclosure, very few boot camps do this either, because what it actually requires is learning how to problem solve, how to think like a coder. So picture this for a second. I was a full-time professor for 6 years, and I was determined to show my students how to code. And to be honest, I was so dedicated to this mission. I taught the same group of students semester after semester. In fact, I switched schools because at my first school, it was too big and I never saw the students enough. So I couldn't figure out what worked. So I switched to a smaller school while I was in charge of the whole program, and I saw the same students again and again and again. So I could observe their learning moment by moment to figure out what was absolutely essential to becoming an incredible software developer. And not only that, but getting that six-figure offer on the other side. And you know what happened? It was a whole group of my students. I remember the year. I remember the students. I had trained them all in this method that I'm sharing with you today. And they all landed six-figure job offers. Every single one. And they came back and they told me exactly what about my method worked. I was like, oh, was it your portfolio? And they're like, no, it was the experience, the team deployment experience. That was the aha that showed me it doesn't have to be that hard to learn to code and build a six-figure tech career. And today, AI has made it even easier. That's the shortcut that I'm going to share with you today, is how to fast track this so that you're ready for these six figures. You don't have to do it the hard way. You just need the right approach, one that trains you how real developers think, practice, and get paid, even with AI. All right, folks. All right. Excellent. So I don't want you to just take my word for it here. Okay. Let's take a look at the evidence. So how do I know that the approach that I'm sharing with you tonight works? Not just because I had a whole class of students graduate and get six-figure offers, right? How do I still know this? So in 2024, our student salary offers ranged from $70K to $170K. Not bad, right? Who'd be okay with a salary in that range? Pop in the chat, drop me an emoji. Who's cool with that? Who's cool with, in the next 12 months, landing a job for $70K to $170K? Scott is. Richard's on the fence. Natalia is. Blair is. Awesome. Jabron's going to go get it. I love it. Right? But here's the thing, folks. We all know what's been going on with AI and the tech job market in the past year. In the last 9 months, every student who's gotten an offer was for six figures. Every single one. AI didn't hurt our grads. It's catapulting them to success. All right. Are you ready to see how? I love it, Chris. I love it. You guys ready? Like I'm not holding anything back. Any questions you ask, I will share tonight because I want you to know what the path really looks like. Like it was pretty good when we first started, but man, it's gotten better. like We've got it now, folks. All right, we've got it. Let me show you. Let me walk it through. Let me walk you through. All right. So I know some people, push back and they're like, oh, AI is changing the game. Okay, well, we're going to clear that and bust through that tonight. Okay, folks? So just out of curiosity, does anyone remember driving before GPS? Right? Does anyone remember driving before GPS? I'm probably dating myself a little bit here because when I was in college, there were no smartphones. Yeah, some people did, right? You had to print out directions on freaking paper, right? Memorize exits, and then you'd take the wrong one and you'd stress over every wrong turn because then your directions didn't auto update. You had to go drive around the block and get back on your directions because you printed them out before you left and they didn't update while you're on your journey. Crazy, right? MapQuest, exactly. Oh my goodness. But when GPS came along, driving didn't disappear, right? It just got easier. A good driver with GPS, man, oh, they got places faster. They got to explore more. They didn't panic when they missed a turn. They just reroute and kept going, right? But someone that's never learned how to drive, a GPS isn't going to do anything to help them, right? AI is the same way. Here's the kicker. All right, we're going to close this loop here. If you know how to think like a coder, AI becomes your GPS. It helps you build faster, make smarter decisions, and focus on the destination, not every little line of syntax or every little library and framework. The coders who are winning right now aren't the ones who memorize directions. They're the ones who can drive with AI riding shotgun as their co-pilot. All right, does this make sense to everybody? Are you getting what I'm putting down? Right? AI is like your magic GPS, but you got to have those fundamentals or it's not going to do you any good. Okay? And my hypothesis is that the tech workforce was overhired and there was a lot of people not pulling their weight. And the people that are getting laid off, some of them are really great, but some of them weren't pulling their weight. They couldn't get it done no matter what. And so they weren't continuing to add value to their team. So what I'm going to show you tonight is how to learn those fundamentals so that you can always be adding value, so that you're the one that everyone goes to get it working no matter what. All right, folks? Awesome. Let's dive into that just a little bit, okay? So let's take this idea. AI is your co-pilot, okay? Because at the end of the day, AI isn't actually replacing developers. It's replacing the grind of coding, the inefficiency, the repetition, the memorization, the mundane. It's elevating the role of the developer. What it's allowing us as humans to do is to focus on only what we can do uniquely, right? To envision what we want to see created in tech, right? And then create it. Can you imagine the power of that? Of being able to create whatever you want with tech to be totally unstoppable? That's the skills we're talking about tonight. And here's the thing, as a society, we've actually been here before. This whole technology replaces developers thing, it's not new. Can you guys believe this? So join me on a walk down memory lane in coding history. All right, you may or may not know this, but has anyone ever seen a programming language called assembly? Has anyone ever seen this? You may have heard it called 3-address code. You may have heard it called 3-address code. Chris has. Awesome. So when C came along, right? So C was invented in the 1970s. And yes, there were languages A and B before it. It's just C, C took off. Nobody remembers A and B, but they existed. And so when C came along, people said real coders only use assembly, and they beat C every single time. There's no way an automated compiler like C can automatically do what a human coder can do. Okay. Guys, do we have any assembly programmers in the house tonight? Have we seen any assembly job ads lately? Has anyone been looking? Have we seen any of these? No. 50 years later, they were wrong. The shift made development more accessible, more powerful. Yes, Jabra, there's still some embedded systems and security engineers. So there are some assembly jobs. There's some low-level systems jobs. But are they the ones we're applying for right now? Not really, right? AI is like the new compiler. It's the tool that turns fast learners into fast builders. Do we still have developers even though C existed? Yeah, we do. We don't have assembly programmers anymore. We have software developers that work at a higher level. We didn't just go beyond C, we started doing web programming and beyond. The same is true with AI. No CEO is going to sit down and vibe code their live system. Do you think the CEO of Chase Manhattan Bank, one of the biggest banks of the world, is going to sit there and prompt AI to fix their banking software? Heck no. We still need people in these roles. They're just evolving, right? They're not doing the same things. So what do you need to know? Let's dive into what this new form of software development can look like. All right? Because I'd like you to meet your new coding assistant. Their name is AI. They go by many names, but you are the brains here. Let's be real. Companies don't pay you to write perfect code. They pay you to solve problems, ship solutions, and move fast. AI helps you prototype, iterate, and refine. So you don't have to be perfect. You get to skip writing from scratch and use AI to rapidly prototype solution templates, right? Like, this is awesome because real software developers, the professional six-figure software developers, rarely get the luxury of writing from scratch. So the fact that AI can kind of generate templates for us is perfect because now we can focus on the one skill we truly need to understand, right? We don't need to be perfect. We just need to be able to iterate to the solution and troubleshoot. All right. And this is the mindset shift that most people miss. AI is not your replacement. It's your new junior developer, right? Basically, AI is turning everyone into senior software engineer level. Well, guess what? We've been teaching people how to hit that level of six figures senior software engineer for years. Over a decade, I've been training students to do this. And so you still lead, you still think, you still build, but now you get to build with power tools. All right. So now you know, AI isn't a threat, it's an accelerator. But here's the thing. You can't take advantage of AI until you start thinking like a coder, okay? What do you need to be able to do? What is it that AI can't do? Well, it can't understand the problem. You have to tell it about the problem. You have to prompt it. AI doesn't think like a coder. It can create code for you, but it can't get it working very well. And I don't know if any of you have tried the Vibe coding tools that are out there. Like, they have this great fix me button. It's awesome until it doesn't work. And it's not just like us, prototyping. I have software clients coming to me every week and they're like, oh yeah, I vibe coded my prototype. I spent a year on it and it was working perfectly until they changed something and now I can't get it working. Are you kidding? If that had been sold and out to live users, it is like almost irresponsible for someone who doesn't know how to code to like launch this vibe coded app and put it into the world and start charging people when they have no means of fixing it. They're going to be hiring a developer pretty soon, right? Like you need to know how to think like a coder. You have to know how to get it working. Okay? You have to be able to debug anything. Like this is why Google didn't eliminate all the programmers either, right? Like, because sometimes Google and yes, sometimes ChatGPT and AI fail. They don't know everything. Because if someone is asking you to build a new piece of software, it's because it doesn't yet exist. So unless you're building something completely derivative from existing software that's already out there, there's going to be a new element. And when there's a new element, AI can guess, but it cannot know. That's what the humans are required to do. Okay? So to be clear, You can't take advantage of AI until you learn this skill of thinking like a coder, okay? AI is like that Mercedes, a hot rod car in your toolbox. But how good is a Mercedes if you don't have the key? Useless, right? AI is useless if you don't understand the fundamentals, if you don't know how to think like a coder, if you don't know how to go beyond the prompts and actually get things working no matter what, right? This is technology as a superpower here. Like you can solve it no matter what. That's why you want to focus on learning to think like a coder, right? This is the kind of coder that companies can't replace. All right. This is the type of coder that has total confidence in their abilities, and they can walk into that interview room or walk into that team meeting and know they're going to be able to get the result. They're going to be able to get the outcome, to solve the problem, to do the debugging. That's where you want to be. That's where you have longevity in your career, where you have job security, because you're the go-to person. That's what I teach. That is what I'm going to be showing you tonight. How to get that. All right. I'm going to show you the process and as much of the fundamentals as I can. All right, folks. Are you guys ready to see what that looks like? Are you ready to see what that looks like? Let me know. Drop it in the chat. Awesome sauce. Let's do this. Let's do this. Sweet. So that's all to say. I get very excited, folks. I get very excited. AI is evolving the role of developer. Okay. So how is AI really transforming tech? Because AI is creating these powerful prototypes super fast, and it's an incredible tool for learning, but not delivering, right? And again, this is not new. Take bookkeepers and accountants, all right? Just, have you guys ever heard of Excel spreadsheets, Google Sheets, Quicken, QuickBooks, right? There's accounting software. Did accounting software like Excel and QuickBooks replace accountants? No, we still have them. I work with one. Right, as a business owner, right? It evolved. The software evolved their role and made their work lives easier so that now they focus on making sure the software did everything correctly and that it meets the client needs. The same things that a developer is needed to do now with AI, right? Explain what the customer is looking for, make it work when it doesn't, and verify that the AI output was correct, right? When we work with AI and coding, the developer's role is evolving, okay? So learning to work with AI often means troubleshooting. It means getting it working no matter what. Tech as a superpower. And just imagine having the power of solving any tech challenge with AI as your sidekick. Exactly. AI is an accelerant. So what do today's companies really want in the age of AI, right? How do we go from ghosted to unstoppable? And just out of curiosity, if you can drop in the chat, give me an emoji. Who has been on the job market? Is there anyone that's currently on the job market? I know some of you guys are beginners. It's totally cool. But is anyone currently on the job market trying to get interviews? Okay, I see some emojis. Taylor, Cypher, Cassandra. Yep, awesome. Working on it. Wonderful. So you're going to really want to pay attention to this. Awesome. And Richard, I've got an awesome outcome for you. Yeah, Paulina, Scott, Gibran. Yep. It's all good. So how do we go from ghosted to unstoppable and get some of these six-figure offers, right? Okay, awesome. So first things first, we need systems thinking, right? This is thinking like a coder, but next level, building on top of that. Thinking like a coder is like the base. You have to have that. And then companies are looking for these additional pieces. They're not just looking for syntax memorization. In fact, these were never the important things. As long as I've been teaching other people how to program, I have not been teaching these things. Like that, syntax and memorizing is not the answer. It's about the process, right? How to get it working. And so they're really looking for systems level thinking. What do I mean by that? So it's one thing to just, copy and paste something from AI, right? Into a code a IDE and then hit run. You get something happening. It's another thing to really put on your thinking cap and think through, where is this software going to go? How is it going to grow and change over time? You actually can't design software to meet every possible future, because the future is infinite. But you can be intelligent and think about where it's likely to need to change. And you can build that in so those changes downstream are easier. Now, if you get this right, your code is awesome. It's a pleasure to work with, a breeze to fix bugs, and it grows organically over time easily with a small team. If you get it wrong, it becomes so expensive to build and maintain that the company can't afford it and goes under. So literally, this systems thinking can be the do or die, make or break moment for a small startup company, for a SaaS, right? Getting this systems thinking right is about, how is the data flowing through the application? Where does it go? Is it scalable? Is it secure? Is it robust? Is it reliable? How does the data pass through the application? How is it handled? What is being stored, right? Where are we offloading to frameworks? Where do we have to build in-house? Like, this is architect level, senior dev type thinking. So thinking like a coder is your base, but companies really want you thinking at these higher levels, because now we have AI to do all the grunt work. This is where they need the developers, the talent. All right. It's also, it's not just about systems thinking. It's about getting systems working with both humans and machines, right? Especially as we move into agents. It's about collaborating, understanding human needs, and leveraging AI to speed the solutions up that work and are reliable and scalable. It's about showing real-world proof deploying, not just tutorials or certificates. And I can tell you this real-world delivery, this experience, it has to be recent. It can't be more than 6 months old, or you're dead in the water. And it needs to be to live production systems. In fact, I've had students, join us in the academy because they were getting interviews but couldn't get past them, because the interviewers would always ask them, when is the last time that you deployed to production? And they're like, never, or 10 years ago, 6 years ago. Goodbye. See you later. It's got to be recent. They just got hired this spring for $123K. All right. So you have to have this deployment experience. All right. So like, an internship is not necessarily enough. It has to have this real world delivery, this deploying to production piece. They want to see that you can solve real problems for real clients with real deadlines using actual development tools, right? It's thinking like a coder and being able to solve any problem that's placed in front of you. All right. So would you guys like to see that? Would you like to see exactly how to build these skills that companies will pay for, even if you're a beginner starting out? Who's ready? Who's ready for this? Awesome. Yes, Natalia. Excellent. Natalia, they were on support. Natalia, I think if you're the Natalia, I think you're in the program. They were on support local. Like, they just followed our pathway. Yep. Awesome sauce, folks. Let me dive into this. Okay. So here's your roadmap to become absolutely unstoppable with 6-figure skills with AI. Okay. Awesome, Natalia. Cool. Your name is pretty unique, so I figured you're the same person. Okay, awesome. All right, sweet. So what does this look like? And you guys can ask whatever questions. I will answer as fully as I can tonight. But also just know, I'm going to have a way later on tonight that you can actually learn all these skills. Okay. So like, I want to make it super easy for you. Awesome. So what does this look like? So phase 1, we have to learn to think like a coder. This is a training phase. It's fairly traditional like style in terms of like, you're learning stuff and applying it, right? You're learning at your own pace. You're learning to think like a coder. You will not find the curriculum anywhere else, because I invented it after spending decades, learning how to code and studying software developers who are really good at debugging and getting things working. Basically, like my PhD was basically in how do you teach someone to get things working. So, and then I did it as a professor for like another decade. It took me a decade to learn it, a decade to figure out how to teach it. Okay. So like, you're not going to see this anywhere else. Like, I can just tell you that. Awesome. So this is learning to think like a coder. And now we've elevated it to, learning to build like a pro with AI, right? That's really part of it. After that phase, and on average, right? So just to put this into perspective, like I've been talking about this idea of thinking like a coder. What's the cost of not learning to think like a coder? Okay. In the academy, I call this the 7 basics, the 7 basics of programming. Trying to learn to become a software developer without knowing these 7 basics, without learning to think like a coder, is like trying to read a novel without knowing the alphabet. Thinking like a coder is the alphabet. Can you imagine trying to read a book? Right? I'm trying to find a book. See, can you imagine trying to read a book without knowing the alphabet? It would take you forever, right? It would be so painful. You'd probably give up and not want to keep going. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Anyone's journey learning to code, right? It's so frustrating. And this is where I see most beginners struggling the most. And it's totally pointless because there is, in fact, an easier way. Okay. So we are going to help teach you how to think like a coder, right? And I can share some insights with you tonight and learn how to use AI as your personal junior developer, right? So this AI is going to help you write, debug, and ship projects that you actually understand. Typically, this phase takes about 3 months working part-time. Okay, again, I'll go more into exactly how long it will take in a second. Phase 2 is absolutely essential, absolutely critical. This is the real world experience. Okay. This is not just an internship, right? And I can tell you, this is the secret sauce to why our students all get 6-figure offers. Like, this is it. And it's been true for the past 10 years since before I invented the company, before I created the company, because I was doing this as a professor and all of my students were getting 6-figure offers then, right? And I was running it in a much watered down fashion in a college classroom. And so this is really where you go from learner to builder. You learn to collaborate on a team. You work on real projects. You have proof that you can lead, contribute, and problem solve. And there's that critical question that we just mentioned that comes up on tech interviews. When was the last time you deployed to production with real world experience? You're not just ready for interviews. You've become someone that AI can't replace, and you know it, right? So this comes through on the interview because, like, let's take curriculum aside for a second. I know a lot of people were mentioning, oh, their curriculum seems like it's all the same, right? Well, this one's different, but like, let's put the curriculum aside for a second. I could teach you every technical skill on the planet. But if you don't have confidence in your abilities, you are not getting that job offer. You are not passing that interview. We have to get you confident and like ice cold confident, like walking through them. Oh yeah, I got this. Like that kind of confidence. You don't get that from learning from tutorials or books. You get that from doing it, from actually deploying in the real life, in using your skills to have impact in the world. So the power of this is not just because, yes, it goes on your resume. Yes, it helps you get interviews, but it also helps you land the interview because you require it. Think of how much easier it is to ace an interview for something you've already done before. Would that be a lot easier, right? Like, let's say someone's going to interview for a job that requires walking. Most of us, I'm assuming, can walk. It may not be all, but many of us, right? Hey, I walk. Yeah, I can do this job. Versus, oh, deploying to production. What's that? Wait, CI/CD, what's that? Right? Like, okay, it's a lot harder to show up confidently if you've never done it before, right? If it's never done before. Awesome. Thank you, Jabron, for those awesome questions. If you can pop them in the Q&A section to make sure I don't miss them, I will definitely answer those all at the end for sure. All right. So this real world experience, It is absolutely essential. It has always been essential. And part of the reason I know it's essential is because I've had, hundreds of students come through my program. Some of them went to other boot camps first. Some of them went to other degree programs first. And they've already been on the job market. And the point in the program, when they start getting interviews, is not when they join the boot camp, like our training program. It's when they become an intern. And they don't start landing those offers until they've been an intern for a little bit, right? And so I have a lot of data on this. Like the real world experience is the thing. And it's the feedback I've gotten from every single student I've helped. All right. It's delivering for real clients on a real project with an actual team. Because here's what people don't usually appreciate is like training is a big part of this, right? You got to know what you're doing. But there's a whole nother set of skills and tools that don't even come into play until you're on a team. Like, for instance, there's a tool called Git. And using Git is absolutely essential. It's used by most teams on the planet, version control. But until you're on a team and actually trying to deploy something, you can't fully appreciate some of the little pieces, the niceties. Like, who cares about merge conflicts? What's that? Oh, they are so painful. You will take great pains to avoid them, right? Like, or why do you have continuous integration tests? Well, if you've ever tried to meet a client delivery deadline the night before a client demo and somebody pushes something to the code base on your team and it breaks the whole freaking thing, you realize why you need those tests. Right? Like there's certain things that are absolutely essential to the software development process, but until you're in it, you cannot see it. It doesn't make sense. And it's going to be hard to show up on that interview and pretend, right? You got to kind of live it sometimes. You got to live it. Yes, Richard, Git. Don't worry. We can teach it. We got you covered, Richard. It's all good. All right. So this is not optional for a bunch of reasons. And there's a reason why I've like split this in half. Training is about 1 to 3 months on average. Real world experience about 1 to 3 months on average. And there's a reason for that. And it's not just so you build up experience on your resume so you get interviewed. It's because there's actually skills that you have to learn so you can nail your interview once you finally get it. Okay. Anyways, I'll try and get off my soapbox. I get very excited. All right. Finally, the last phase is the job hunt. All right. So this is where you're going to want to do mock interviews, building connections, researching and reaching out on LinkedIn, showcasing your talents. You could be writing articles. You could be helping others, answering Stack Overflow posts, contributing to an open source project, ideally contributing to a real live client project. That's what our students do. And ideally, you want to allow about 6 months. And part of the reason for that is because hiring windows for tech tend to open twice a year. I've seen this every year I've been in business, right? So you can kind of set your watch by it. So jobs open at the beginning of the year around March to June. And the sweet spot is the end of April, early May is when the majority, I would say half of our students annually get hired in that spring job rush window. And then in the summer, it peters off a little bit. There's a lot less movement. And then it heats up again a little bit, not quite as big as the first, in the fall. So late August, September, October. By November, by Thanksgiving, job market's closed. It's not going to open up again until March. And so that's why you want to allow 6 months on the job hunt, because you might be ready, but the jobs might not be there yet. All right. So I just want you guys to keep in your mind, like the job windows, right? Late spring and fall. Those are the hot times. You want to make sure you've got that real world experience on your resume before that next job season. All right. Now, some of you might be wondering, how long would it take me? Right? How long would it take me? Is anyone wondering how long it might take? Because I can kind of put this into perspective for you folks. Okay, awesome. So let me kind of break this down. So if you have experience, it's going to look different than if you're a brand new coder, right? If you're a beginner, you're going to want to allow a little bit of a time. And it also depends on if you've got 10 hours a week or 20 hours or more. Okay. So we assume a minimum commitment of 10 hours a week working part-time. Okay. So if you're a true beginner and you've never coded before, please allow for the full 12 months of the experience to learn and master these concepts. It's going to take a while. Okay. If you've got more than 10 hours a week, if you're able to do this 20 to 40 hours a week, okay, you can cut it down, probably 6 to 8 months. If you've already gone through a degree or a boot camp, or if you've had a tech job before, you're going to be able to go through faster. And in fact, I think Richard said he was looking at IT. We've had folks with an IT background come through our program and get hired after just the first month. Because when you take these coding skills that I teach wicked fast and you put it together with experience, like tech experience that's already on your resume, even if you weren't a coder, I've had students get jobs as quick as 2 weeks. That's an exception, right? Not the rule, but I've had a number of students get it after completing just the first 2 months of training. I've had a number of students get offers 4 6 figures and up. All right. So, I definitely, if you've already got experience on your resume, any kind of tech experience, you may be able to go a lot faster. Okay, a lot faster. But this kind of gives you a breakdown. If you've got more time, right, if you can work more than 10 hours a week, you can absolutely accelerate your progress, right? This pathway that I'm sharing with you, it's really a function of hours and mastery. So it also depends on how quickly you learn, which is hard to see on the outside, right? You kind of have to come in to see that. All right. Any questions on that? Does anyone have any questions on how long it will take, the pathway, right? Let me know if you've got those. Okay, awesome. I'm just going to go back to some of the Q&A questions. Ron, I hope you got your sound. It looks like people can hear me. I can absolutely dive in more on the kinds of jobs. I'll probably save that for the end. And job security, is it gig to gig or permanent position? Well, that's kind of up to you. Our goal is to, like, what I'm sharing with you tonight is really the focus is to get a salaried job with benefits, right? Like these are the skills that you need. Can you take these skills and go apply them freelance and be a contractor? Absolutely. Right. Awesome sauce. Okay, cool. Jabron's got some very specific questions, which I'll answer at the end. Ooh, Natalia's got some awesome questions. Oh my goodness, these are really good questions, but some of them are really specific. So I'm gonna hop in. Awesome, Leanne. If you've got a question, please pop it in the chat. Preferably, if you could pop it in the Q&A section, I will dive into all those. Some of those are specific on what we offer, and I'm gonna talk more about that in a little bit. Awesome, awesome sauce, folks. So just out of curiosity, right? Just out of curiosity. Has anyone been burned before? Has anyone ever tried to learn to code and been frustrated? I get it, Leanne, Alyssa. I got 3 computer science degrees and had to friggin' teach myself. I was a little bit frustrated by that, you know, how hard society said go to college, go to college, go to college. And I went to college and it didn't give me what I wanted. I didn't get what I asked for. So has anyone signed up for a boot camp or degree and then still not known how to create something from scratch at the end? That was me. I couldn't code from scratch when I got my first CS degree, right? Oh, Chris, I'm sorry it's happening for you right now. I know, right? So frustrating. So I want to be clear here, all right? If you've been burned before, you are not the problem. The system is. And there's a lot of really great people working in the system, right? It's not the people, it is actually the system, because I got my PhD in computer science and went on to become a professor to try and fix the system. Unfortunately, I realized the system was so broken, it couldn't be fixed from within. And the only way I could solve it was by leaving a really nice, cushy, tenured position where I couldn't be fired and starting my own school, right? It was literally the only solution. Like once I'd figured out how to actually create a learning environment to teach tech, which is constantly changing and evolving, right? Most learning structures, like for training, especially in the university level, they're designed for teaching things that do not change, right? Like history, English, math, They haven't changed for decades, centuries, right? We haven't been around that long in tech, and it's constantly changing. Tech is the only subject I know that's changing while I'm teaching it. It's the system is not set up, right? The system is set up to learn how to teach things well once and teach them the same way for 20 years. That's not going to work in tech, all right? That's not going to work. The system is broken. The system is the problem, right? So my question for you is, when you were frustrated in the past, right? The system wasn't built for you. It was built for intuitive geniuses that just get it, or areas of study that don't ever change. And it's okay, right? It took me 6 years to figure it out, right? And so Richard's pointing out right now, he said, I got a degree and numerous certifications for IT. Can't even get a phone call back on my resume. And I'm sorry, Richard, that that's your experience, that you're facing that. I hope what I'm sharing with you tonight will help you move forward in that. But it goes to show, because how come degrees aren't helping you get jobs? It's because the business has already figured it out that the training isn't giving the graduates the skills that the businesses need, right? So what I'm sharing with you tonight is actually born out of this idea that how do you know that the skills that you're learning are employable? Well, in my education company, we have a software company. We actually have other businesses paying us as clients, right? They're paying us to deliver software. So anything I teach you, I know is valuable because someone is paying us for that. And to me, that's the only way to actually design a tech curriculum, is to make sure that the skills that are being taught are actually viable and valued in the marketplace, right? While still preparing you for a career. So it's a tough job, but we've got a pretty great way of doing it. But this is why most places can't, because most training programs, they get a bunch of people, maybe they've got experience, maybe they just have PhDs. They sit in a room, they say, yeah, everybody should learn this. Okay. If you're lucky, they have an advisory board. Anyways, okay. I could talk about this all night long. I will try to stick to the program. Okay. But I've created a way that anyone can shortcut their time to learn. I'm going to share that with you tonight. And AI has only made it better, right? So let me ask you this. The last time you tried to learn to code, did you learn to think like a coder and learn how to code from scratch? Okay. Did you have accountability and a community rallying around your success? Did you have mentors who actually cared if you made an impact or not? Right? Depends. I've seen it go both ways. Did you get actual experience, not just lessons? And did you have a real resume review, interview practice, and job hunt coaching? Okay. So if you've been burned before, consider this. What if this time the structure is different? What if it's more about transforming and delivering than just the book learning? And what if this time you're not doing it alone? What if this time it's not about learning more, it's about learning smarter? Because when you've been burned before, what you really need isn't another Udemy course, right? You need a system that actually works and a team that walks with you. More on that in a minute. All right, folks. So what do you actually need to earn 6 figures in tech, right? What do you actually need, right? And some of you might be wondering, can I do this? Just out of curiosity, is anyone wondering that right now? Can I actually do this? Can I get one of those 6-figure tech jobs? Is anyone wondering that? Can you give me an emoji reaction, a thumbs up, drop it in the chat? Anyone wondering? Okay, I see some thumbs. Awesome. I want to compliment you because right now, today, you've already shown that you can do what's required. Congratulations, right? You showed up. You're here right now, watching, learning, Alex, participating, Richard. Let me share a story with you. Does anyone know who this is? This is Michael Jordan, affectionately known as the GOAT, greatest of all time in basketball. All right. Here's the thing. he wasn't just magically gifted at basketball. I was shocked when I heard this. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, guys. Can you believe that? The greatest of all time, cut from his high school basketball team. It wasn't his raw talent. It was how he applied himself. When he was cut, he didn't stop playing basketball, man. He kept going. He's like, turned him on fire. He met failure with fire. And he went and he made 1,000 baskets, not shots, but 1,000 baskets every single day. Oh my goodness. And he transformed. And from that determination to show up and actually do the work, one of the greats was born. Now, fortunately, becoming a six-figure software developer is not nearly as challenging as becoming one of the greatest basketball players of all time. So my question to you is this: do you think you can do that? Do you think you can build on the momentum that you've created by showing up tonight and consistently showing up for your future for about 2 hours a day or about 10 hours a week? Who thinks they can do that? 2 hours a day, around 10 hours a week. Sif does. Chris does. That's awesome. So good, folks. That's all it takes. Awesome, Richard. Yeah, you don't have to be tall. You don't have to be tall, right? Super awesome, folks. Super awesome too. Excellent. So how are we going to learn this, right? Just out of curiosity, who's going to become a six-figure software developer this year? In the next year, next 12 months? Say I. Who's there? Say yes. Yes, Ellen is. Scott is. Love it. Love it. Natalia, Richard, Chris. Yes. Excellent. 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 You're going to want to start with some learning materials or a training program, right? Right. Let's dive into this, right? We've already seen the pathway, right? I've shown you how to use AI as your co-pilot. I've shown you the fast path to start earning six figures in tech. So how are you going to learn, right? Let me take this out of context a little bit, okay? So let's say I have a dream of climbing Mount Everest, right? So this is like our dream of becoming a six-figure software developer, right? We're climbing this mountain. We're climbing Mount Everest here. So let's say my dream is climbing to the top of Mount Everest, right? I want to increase my chances of success here, okay? So what are some of my options? Well, I could watch a video. Has anyone ever watched a video to try and learn something? Yeah, right? For sure. And it works for some things, right? For little tasks like, oh, do this, this, and this. Videos are great. But what's missing when I watch a video of someone doing it, right? You know, I love me a good house show on HGTV. I don't know if anybody else watches HGTV. I love it. You know, and as many HGTV shows that I watch, as many fixer-uppers and beachfront bargain hunts as I watch, I'm not learning how to build a house by watching HGTV, right? Because what's missing? How to think through it yourself, right? All the little nuances, all the 1,000 little questions that come up that you can't possibly Google. You can't, right? I could use AI, but remember, we need to actually learn how to tell AI what to do and know that it did it versus having it train us. So it has some risks with it, right? It has some risks. Right? It's not hands-on, Leanne. Exactly. Or what if I went up to the top of Mount Everest with a team of individuals that I trained with over the course of a few months, and they went with me. And this team was experienced. They didn't just go to the top of Everest once, they'd been to the top many times. Do you think my chances would improve, my chances of success, if I had a whole team behind me that had done this dozens and dozens and dozens of times before? I'd have better success, right? Working with a team that's done it before, training with them, working with them, going on this journey with them, right? And I know there are no guarantees, right? But what if we could, right? What if I could show you a program where in the last 9 months, all of our student job offers were from six figures? And before that, they were just 70K to 170K. Okay. So a lot of you are asking the question, what's next? Is it okay with you if I share just a little bit about the program that we have for those of you that are ready for the next step? Is that cool with you guys? If I shared a little bit, I've got something really fun to share with you guys tonight. Okay, awesome. Scott's in. Love it. Yes, Natalia. Success leaves clues. Excellent. Yes, Richard. So, so good. So, a lot of what I've been sharing with you tonight is embedded in the school that I created, the Tech Joy Academy. And I know the Tech Joy Academy isn't for everyone here, but it's going to be perfect for some of you. So, who is this for? This is for you if you're tired of learning on your own and you're ready to stop struggling, right? You're tired of the struggle, Googling and using AI on your own and just not getting any answers, all right? This is for you if you can dedicate at least 2 hours a day to becoming a six-figure software developer this year. This is for you if you know that real-world experience will give you the skills and confidence to land your first tech job or next tech job, as the case may be. This is for you if you're ready to stop sending your resume everywhere and just get a freaking job already. If anyone's in that boat, all right? This is for you. Now, before I go on, I want to touch base on something that's really important. Because at the end of the day, our time together tonight is for you. It's to help you move forward, right? So I want you to take a second, close your eyes if you need to, and just think, what would a six-figure tech career be worth? What would that feel like for you? How would your life be different? So take a second and put yourself in that future. What would it feel like to have that six-figure job? How would your life be different? Would you be showing up for your family and friends differently? Would you be paying off debt, right? Getting a boat in Hawaii. I love it, right? What would you be doing when you have that six-figure job, right? So just think about that for a second. Think about why you're doing this. There's a reason for this. Because if your why isn't juicy enough, you're not going to get the thing. So we got to make sure that you are absolutely dialed in and tapped into what is most important for you. Because if you want this, you can have it, but you have to walk the path. You have to get up every day, put in that 2 hours, right? Whether you feel like it or not. I mean, you can skip every once in a while, but if you skip more than 80-20, you got a problem, right? You're not going to get there, right? Scott could retire sooner, help more startups, help people more. Exactly. Yep. You can have more impact, not just for your own life, but for your family, your loved ones, right? So what would you be willing to pay if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that 6 months from now or 12 months from now, if you're a beginner, you would have a six-figure dev job, a job that you enjoy, maybe even remote working from home? What would that be worth to you? And what if I could show you a program where everyone is getting six-figure offers? It's simple. You just walk the pathway, tried and true. Does it work? All of our student offers in the last 9 months were for six figures. Can you do it? All you have to do is be able to show up and keep working, right? Keep showing up, keep asking questions, keep doing the work. That's it. That's it. So I know the Tech Joy Academy isn't for everyone here, but it's going to be perfect for some of you. All right. Who is it for? Right? It's for the person that wants to learn how to think like a coder, right? To actually work with real world clients, to actually collaborate with AI and humans so you can be part of this new tech workforce. It's about having experience deploying and proof that you have, not just on your resume, but in your confidence, right? It's about getting that resume review, that feedback that's specific to you. and that practice interview with coaching to make sure that you're showing up as the best possible version of yourself. Confident, capable, right? Self-sufficient. That is what we're teaching. Self-sufficiency, being a self-sufficient coder capable of solving any problem, right? That's what this is really about. Okay. Now, we've had students actually pay $15,000 for this. And there's boot camps out there. They charge, I think at the beginning of the night, people were chatting 16, 21K, right? So this would be a killer value, an incredible value at $15,000. And in fact, we've had students 10x their investment, right? Some of the wins that I'm showing you here tonight, I had a woman pay $15,000, got a $150K job offer 7 months out of joining, 10x her investment. Who thinks her investment was worth it, right? What do you guys think? Is that investment worth it? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Type in the chat. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. Yeah, right? Less than a year, 10xing your investment. Most investors would go a very long way for that kind of return, right? The only investments you get to 10x like that are the ones that you make in yourself, okay? Now, I know that that's a lot, and I really want to make this as easy as possible for you guys tonight. And even, right, it's not going to cost you $15,000, right? To be honest, it's not even going to cost you $7,500 upfront, right? And even at $7,500, this would be an absolutely incredible value for a 6-figure job opportunity. Our student job offers have ranged from $70K to $170K. And in fact, all of our offers since last fall have been for 6 figures or more. Every student who sticks with the program has been successful. It's literally that simple. Your 10x investment is practically guaranteed. Is it cool if I do something a little crazy with you guys? Can we actually guarantee it? Would that be cool with you? Let's go see it. Get crazy. I love it, Richard. So good. All right, folks. Can I make this decision like stupid easy for you? What if there was no risk? Would you guys be into that if there was like no risk to you? When you make a decision this week to join, I will personally guarantee you a job offer or you don't pay. Now, to be clear, you do have to complete the program, okay? But when you complete the program and follow our job hunt guidelines, if for some crazy reason you're unsuccessful in getting a job offer, it's on me. I shoulder the risk so you don't have to. Is that fair? What do you guys think? Is that fair? Because I know our grads get jobs. Yeah, right? Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. Let me bring back some of this text that disappeared on me. Okay, there we go. So let's take that risk out of it. All right, let's take that risk out. Now, I know that not everyone has $7,500 lying around. All right. So we're going to try and make this even easier, which is why we offer payment plans. And we make it available for $397 a month or less, right? Depends on your credit. Could be even less, but it won't be more than $397 a month. All right. And if you work quickly and build momentum this summer, you would be just in time to apply when jobs open up again in September. All right. My advice, don't wait. Hiring shuts down November to March. I've seen it every year. And in reality, our students typically only get hired March through June and September through October. All right. Now, question for you folks, because I really don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to be able to make an informed decision for yourself, right? Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to try out the academy and see this all for yourself? Would that be cool, guys? So you don't have to take my word for it. I want you to be able to experience all that the academy has to offer, the team, the community, the mentors, learn to code, meet the community, meet our mentors, get some quick wins on your resume. Who is down for that? Richard is, right? Which is why you can join us today. Dun, dun, dun. I got to copy and paste my URL for $97. That's it. 97 bucks. I'm going to pop the link. It's in the chat. Go over to the chat section on Zoom, click the link, $97. You can join for 2 weeks. You get access to absolutely everything. I won't hold anything back. And I've got something like super special for you guys. All right. Because this isn't just any old like 2-week trial. Like we are doing something crazy pants for you that like this is our first time running it this way, like and inviting new people like yourself into it. I'm just so excited for you. So I've got something even more special for you, right? What if there was a way to get experience on your resume, not in 6 months, but right now, this week? Who would be into that? Would you guys be into that? Can you guys let me know in the chat? Who would be into getting experience, like something tangible on your resume by the end of next week? Cassandra's in, right? Yeah, Richard, Prince, super awesome. So we are hosting a challenge week this week. We've run in-house hackathons before, but we've never done it like this because our sole goal is to help you get a quick win, get that experience on your resume because we know it is the most valuable thing for you. So, depending on what level you're at, we know even if you're a beginner, we're going to give you something tangible for your resume to help you move forward. You can learn to vibe code. If you're more advanced, you can learn the 7 basics, right? You get access to absolutely everything. So like you can use it all and get experience on your resume in just 1 week. All right, folks, just 1 week. I'm going to pop the link in here in the chat. So if you're interested, grab this link, click on it so that you can get started. All right, folks. Oh my goodness. So excited. When you join this Academy trial, the link is in the chat. We'll be hosting extra daily trainings we don't normally host to show you how to get production and team experience on your resume by the end of the week, end of next week. How cool is that? So we're going to give you the basics of coding, those foundations of thinking like a coder that I told you about. Plus, we're going to give you deployment experience, working on a team. Like we're going to do all the things. So when you sign up this week, me and my team are going to go all in on supporting you, putting all of this together. Everything I talked about tonight, from creating your first programs to working on a team and deploying something live for your resume and portfolio. This is the coolest thing we've ever done, and I don't want you guys to miss it, all right? Again, you can join the ranks of some of our grads like Addie, Doris, Mike, and Mo, and dozens more who have used the system to build real-world projects with AI, get interviewed fast, and land offers paying $70K to $170K, even when they didn't have prior coding experience. All they did was follow our blueprint. Awesome. If somebody's asking if they can wait for Monday, it kicks off Sunday night. So just know you'll have to watch some replays, right, if you delay. So I recommend doing it now so that you can work ahead. We have some pre-learning. As soon as you sign up, we're going to give you access to the 7 basics that I talked about that'll teach you how to think like a coder. It's like, usually it takes about 2 hours of the training. And what I hear from students, this isn't just like one-offs. This is like student after student has told me they learned more in 2 hours than in years, like 2 to 6 years, depending on the student, of trying to learn on their own or going to a degree. Like it is fire sauce. So I'm going to give you my biggest, most important training right off the bat. All right. Right off the bat. So don't wait, join in. All right. And learn those skills that can land you offers paying $70K to $170K, right? Awesome. So Jabron, the trial is access to the full program for 2 weeks. So you can decide. Awesome, Sif. Super awesome. All right. Once the trial is over, you can cancel anytime. You can cancel during the trial if you want. 97 is it. If you want to stay in, at most you're paying $397 a month. You can get a discount if you wanted to pay in full. If you did want to do the $7,500, you can. But again, it's just $97 to come in, peek behind the curtain, get a quick win on your resume, build some momentum, build some traction for yourself, and then make an informed decision about going forward, right? You get to decide. You are a fully functioning adult, and I just want to arm you to make the best decision possible for you, all right? Excellent. Because at the end of the day, you're made for this, all right? So I'm curious, Who's ready to start learning and earning this year? Just out of curiosity, or in the next 12 months? Who's into it? Who's ready to start learning and earning those six-figure skills? Sif is. Richard is. Cassandra, Scott, awesome. Awesome sauce, folks. So I want to share one more story with you, because at TechJoy, our graduates transform the world of software for good. And you can too. These are the type of people that we find in the academy. We have a lot of kind-hearted people with big hearts. All right. If that describes you. And I noticed, did you notice when people said, oh, what does it mean to them to have a six-figure job? A number of people said, oh, I'm going to be able to help others, right? Like, these are the people that you're going to find in our community, right? Like, we are filled with good people that like to help, right? We're helpers. And so at TechJoy, our graduates transform the world of software for good, and you can too. So let me share with you Ida's story. She is one of my all-time favorite students. How many of you agree that it might be harder to learn how to code if you were blind? Right? If you couldn't read the screen, would it be harder to learn how to code? It would for me, right? Would it for you? Oh my goodness, right? Would you become a software developer? I got to be honest, I don't think I would. I would have said coding's not for me. Not Ida. Not only did she use our approach to learn smarter, not harder, she became a six-figure software developer at Chase Manhattan Bank, right? One of the biggest banks in the world. And get this. Now she makes banking software more accessible for those who are totally blind. I want you to have that kind of impact, because I know that each and every one of us has a unique contribution to make in the world. And if you're here, it's because you have something to contribute in tech, something that the world needs that only you can provide. I do this because I know that society, that all of us win when we all get to have a seat at the table, right? Today, I'm offering you a chance to join us and take your place where you belong. Have you ever thought about the people behind the software? How often do we pick up and look at our phones each day? How often are we looking at these devices? All the time, right? We use our tech to design our lives. Who's designing the tech? I want to make sure that you have a chance to do that. And today I'm offering you that chance to join us and take your place where you belong, to have a seat at that table. And yes, it also comes with wonderful salaries, quality of life. But the most important piece is that impact, that ability to contribute, to make our tech lives a better place. Whether you've tried to learn to code and failed, are switching careers, or you've been frustrated on the job market, understandable. Our challenge next week is for you. You're invited to join the TechJoy Academy. Come on in, learn a little, build a lot, and get that experience on your resume. You can join us for just $97, right? For two weeks. My goodness. It doesn't get any better than this, guys. All right, it's in the chat. You're worth it. Take a chance on yourself. All right. Awesome. So good, Chris. Oh my goodness. We've got some students in the house tonight. They're loving it. It's super awesome. We can't wait. We are so excited for next week. We've been planning it and gearing up for it. Oh my goodness. It's going to be fire sauce. So before we wrap up, I want to bring it back to you. You've seen what's possible. You've heard the stories. You can feel the shift and how this is possible for you. So let me ask you again, maybe more clearly this time. What are you really looking for this year? A job, a raise, a fresh start, or the moment that you finally stop questioning whether you're good enough and start showing the world who you really are? You don't have to figure it out alone. You don't have to waste time guessing or grinding. You just need the right path in front of you and the right people walking beside you. And that's exactly what we offer inside the Tech Joy Academy. All right. No credit inquiry for $397. Yep. Doesn't matter what your credit is. $397 a month is the max. If you have better credit, it can be lower. Yep. Super awesome. Great questions, folks. All right. I'm going to post this in the chat, folks. Join us. $97, 2 weeks. Cancel if you want. It's totally cool. You get access to everything, not holding anything back. You become a full member of the community for 2 whole weeks. And we're going to help you get experience on your resume by the end of next week. It's going to be fire. What I want to do now, so that you can make an informed decision, is I'd like to take some time to open things up for questions. So does this make sense so far, folks? Right? Jabron, Richard, Eric, Don. Does it make sense? Was I clear, right? That when you join us, you can have a 6-figure tech job if you so choose. Was that clear to everybody? Yeah. Awesome. Give me a thumbs up. Awesome, Don. Super awesome. And is it clear that although the result that we're promising you, right? We're promising you the result of a 6-figure tech career that will pay you again and again throughout your lifetime and be able to solve any tech challenge, not just with AI, but even when AI doesn't work. And even though this is potentially worth tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime, I've made an executive decision to offer this to you for $97 to try things out for the next 2 weeks. And in addition to that, I'm going to shoulder the risk, guaranteeing you a job offer when you complete the program, or you don't have to pay, right? As long as you put in the work. Exactly, Richard. As long as you put in the work. All right. Super, super awesome. So do you have any questions or comments or concerns that would help you make a decision for you and your family either way, right? I don't want to pressure anyone into anything. I just want to make it easy for you to make an informed choice. I know you're an intelligent person, and I want to help you make that informed decision. I know there's a lot of questions in the Q&A. Please continue to put them there. I will stay as long as necessary tonight to answer those for you, all right? And if you aren't able to stay, I just want to say thank you for showing up for you, for showing up here, for allowing me to be part of your journey to help you on your pathway. All right, folks? And I wish you the best of luck in the future. I hope to see some of you in the challenge next week. It is going to be amazing. All right. And we're going to get you aligned on your resume with experience, even if you're a beginner. This is no joke, man. We've been planning this for weeks now. It's awesome. All right. And don't be a stranger. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. You've got our emails, our text messages. We'll continue to make you updated as things happen. But I just want to, let you know that this is an awesome opportunity, and I hope you take advantage of it so that you can have that tech career that you've been dreaming about. Right now is your moment. Take your place. All right. Super, super awesome. Sweet. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I am going to look at some of these Q&A questions as I saw them coming in. They're so, so good. All right. So there are a lot of them. Some of them I may have answered. Okay, Jabron had like 5. So I'm going to start. That's what I have first. I'll start with those. Jabron is asking, can I tell you more about the job internship guarantee? So I think I want to be clear because it sounded like a lot of other boot camps may have been arranging internships. And so I want to be really crystal clear. Our experience doesn't show up as an internship on your resume. It starts as an internship, and then while working with us, you get promoted to junior dev. And so that's what actually goes on your resume, is a junior dev position. And we serve as a reference, right? So it is a training internship designed with our senior software engineers. All of our staff are US based. And so we're basically giving you your first job and training you and teaching you how to do it, right? It's part of the process. I know when I was a college student, I went on some internships and I basically ate lunch with the other interns, right? Like that was it. There was no actual coding happening. So like, it's really unique because we actually have staff who are compensated and have volunteered to set aside time just to answer your questions. When you go on an internship for a company that's not designed the way we are, whenever you have a question, you have to interrupt someone else's work that they're getting paid for, and they're responsible to do whether they answer your question or not. And so when they answer your question, they're answering out of the kindness of their heart, but they might not be able to get their work done, or they might have to miss time with their family later to get what they actually have to get done. And so the internships that we offer are real training coding internships that translate into junior developer positions. And there's opportunity for even further promotion and potential for compensation. So you can apply to be a part-time contractor. Some of our roles are compensated as you advance. We have the opportunity for leadership. You can become a tech lead. You can start a project from scratch. You can serve as a leader, interfacing with the clients. Like we have all of the skills built in there, and a really cool progression. So it's not just an internship. It's really a full experience. So, and this is what makes the difference. This is why some of our students, our interns, are getting 170K offers. Some are getting 70K. And it's because of the difference in levels that they're demonstrating and the work that they're doing. So our minimum time recommendation per day is 2 hours a day. You can absolutely go faster. This is a skills-based progression. That was one of the things that I found challenging with most training programs that are out there, is that they're time-based. But like, it doesn't matter if you show up for 6 months. It matters, did you know how to do the thing, right? Like a college degree program, you show up for 4 years. What if you didn't learn it, right? You need to get it. And so for us, you advance as fast as you can master the skills. And for some, I've seen some people blow through the first 3 months in a weekend because they already knew what they were doing. And then at that point, it's the training becomes the entrance requirements for the internship, right? So we're making sure you have all the skills that you need to be successful. We don't want to put you in a position where like you're not going to succeed. We're stacking the deck in your favor to help build your confidence like throughout the program. We have a blend of live instruction and asynchronous. So as a professor, I know that the lecture portion, you don't have to be there live. You don't have to be there live. So any trainings that I would lecture on are pre-recorded. So like I am the instructor, right? And we have an amazing community of support who actually are doing some of the live instruction as well. So we have the trainings are all work at your own pace, when and where you want. But what's the part that has to be live? That's the question and answering, right? The office hours, the ability to ask a question, talk to a live human who's experienced, who's knowledgeable, not just AI guessing or like internet trolls guessing, right? It's like people who really actually know what they're doing. In fact, one of our instructors was making exercises for free code camp before they joined us, right? Like these are people who are handpicked because they are dedicated and devoted mentors who are actually able to communicate, right? Tech, which is a very unusual skill, right? Like a lot of people in tech get it, but don't know how to explain it. Have you guys ever been in a room with an expert and they're talking and it's just like, right? Like our experts are actually trained and knowledgeable on how to actually explain these concepts to you, right? And the idea is that we know the fastest path to learn is with dialogue. It's the ability to ask questions back and forth. Because have you ever heard of that thing like give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime? Our goal as an organization, everybody's on board with this. Our goal is to help you become self-sufficient. And so the fastest way to do that is to teach you how to get the answer for yourself. Not like, oh, go figure it out for yourself. Not helpful. Why are you paying someone to help educate you, right? You could go do that on your own. No, our job, and everybody is trained on this on our staff, is to give you little breadcrumbs to get you to the answer so that whenever you ask a question, we are not giving you the answer. We're going to ask you a question back. And that's why this dialogue, this back and forth is so critically important. The fancy pants name is the Socratic method, right? Where you get to ask questions back and forth so that you understand how to be self-sufficient, so that you learn how to solve the problem yourself. But we're going to give you help, right? It's like when a child learns to swim. usually we don't just throw a child in the deep end, right? We put swimmies on them, right? They have these nice fun inflatables and they start swimming. So we're the training wheels. And throughout the program, we have prescribed points where we start removing the training wheels and we guide you through how to become self-sufficient, right? Awesome. Yeah, so everything is accessible 24/7. The live sessions are going to be at a particular time, right? And so those aren't going to be, those are going to be scheduled. But we also have a really vibrant community that's up at all hours of the night. We're all tech people. Tech people don't sleep on normal schedules. And so usually you can get your questions answered in a matter of minutes at all different times of day, I have to admit, right? If you're stuck, it's a group program. We do offer one-on-one coaching at higher price points, right? I didn't even talk about those tonight. Like let's just get you a six-figure job. But like if you wanted one-on-one coaching from me, I have additional, avenues for that. But what we do is we have a group coaching model where you are getting one-on-one coaching live on Zoom. It's in a room of people so that everyone can learn from your question and you can learn from the questions of others. So it's a really cool model. But we actually have a ticketing system. Whenever anyone has a question, they just tag at help with their question, and we use Discord as our community. And then like someone is going to be assigned specifically to answer your question. And if the first person who looks at it doesn't know the answer, they're going to tag the person that does. And so we have this really cool way of making sure that everyone's questions get answered. What tech stacks do we use? Great question, Jabron. So everyone starts out learning Python because it's the closest to English. And then from there, depending on which pathway you choose, you might learn different things. So most of our students come to us looking to do full stack. And so that tech stack would be Next.js, React, React Native, TypeScript. We use Neon as our backend, right? So PostgreSQL, but it's going to be dependent on the project itself, right? We do have an AI internship project, and so that could overlap with Python. As it has a web component as well. So it really depends on where you want to go. And we don't require you to declare your concentration until after you're in and you've learned the basics, because we want you to actually talk to our experts and figure out what path is right for you. We don't charge you. If you come in and you come in and say, I want to do full stack, great. And you get halfway down that path and you're like, oh, I don't know if I like full stack. I think I want to do data science. Awesome. Switch. It's totally cool, right? Like this is education as a service. We provide the community, we provide the resources, we provide the pathways, but you get to choose how you want to walk it, and you don't have to pay for each pathway. If you're fast, you can do them all. We don't care, right? Like we're just supporting you moving forward, if this makes sense. Awesome. Great questions. Super awesome. Natalia has asked some really awesome questions. What are the most common mistakes that beginners make when using AI for coding and how to avoid them? I think the biggest mistake I see from a beginner is having AI do the coding for you. You can have AI do the coding for you when you already know how to code it yourself. But if you look at something and you don't know how you'd sit down and code it yourself, you shouldn't be asking AI to do it yet. So I would say that's probably the biggest mistake that I see beginners doing, where you want to use AI. You want to use AI to ask questions about the quality of your code. Can my code be drier? So I'm going to type that in the chat because this is something that's really important. It's called don't repeat yourself. This is the only software engineering principle that you need. If you always ask that question, is my code dry? Can it be drier? At the end, every time you write a piece of code that works, keep asking that question. You will uncover and self-discover every major software engineering principle that's out there. It's really cool. Other questions Natalia asked, how can I build the skills companies value if you're not working in tech yet? Well, Natalia, good thing you're in the Tech Joy Academy, because when you get on the internship, you'll be able to build those skills. And that's why we have it, right? That is why we have it. Which programming languages should I focus on to get the most out of AI tools? Well, that's one of the cool things with AI is it doesn't matter what language, it's going to help. Now, AI might not be as helpful for really old languages like COBOL and Fortran, but for the modern languages like JavaScript, Java, Python, Perl, right? It's going to be fine. So you don't have to worry about the specific language. The language really where to go with the language question, look at the types of jobs in your area that are hiring. Different geographic regions have different flavors of tech, right? So like certain towns and metropolitan areas favor like a C# stack or a JavaScript stack or a Java stack. And so look at the jobs in your area, see what's popular, and go with that language. Great questions. Great questions. Awesome, Natalia. Excellent. And if you're not in the US, yes, we're going to help you look for jobs where you are authorized to be employed, right? Where you have visa permission to apply. Yep. And no, we offer sessions. Our live Zoom sessions are anywhere from, we mostly were in the afternoon and evening East Coast time, New York time. So 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. Most of our sessions are there. So if you're awake during any of those times, you're covered, right? You're covered. Is there in-depth tech lingo being taught to beginners? Yes, Emmanuel. One of the most important things we teach is the vocabulary, because it doesn't matter if you know how to get the code working if you can't interpret an error, right? You can ask AI, but at the end of the day, you really want to understand the lingo. And so that's part of it. And it's part of being our community and just showing up and listening to the sessions, listening to people more advanced than you talking. You're going to get immersed in that. You're going to get immersed in that. Super awesome. Okay, cool. Excellent. I got a few more awesome questions. Richard, do we help with job hunt? Absolutely. We help with your resume, your LinkedIn profile optimization, interviews. In fact, we just, we added a brand new career coach who's working like full-time on this. Like it's her sole focus in the academy. Like, yeah, we really work with our students because at the end of the day, we want to get you that job offer. I'm going to guarantee it, man. Like you better believe we're working with you to make sure that you're following the guidelines that we set out and are getting on the job market and presenting yourself in the best possible way. Yep. Great question. What programming languages do we learn? Awesome question, Ray. I believe I just answered that. If you have a follow-up, please don't hesitate. All right. Jabron, where can you find the requirements for the job guarantee? So Jabron, if you want to send me a message, you can just email or reply to the text messages back that we've been sending. Just message me back and I can send you a link to our contract. It should be, I don't remember if it's on the trial page or not. It's on the sign up page, but I don't know if it's on the trial page, but I can get you that. Yep. Super awesome. Scott has done 2 boot camps, but you've done only AI coding. Am I considered a beginner? Well, did you do coding in the boot camps? I guess when I say boot camp, I mean a coding boot camp specifically. But we've had students go through multiple other boot camps, and yes, sometimes even 2 other boot camps before joining us. And they, I think all of the people that I know that have gone through 2 other boot camps got job offers already. I don't think we've had anybody lately join for that. But no, people that have tried other training programs, multiple other training programs, they come to us and they have success. Yeah, super awesome. Excellent. Great question. Scott has carpal tunnel. I'm sorry, Scott. And awesome. So like the question is, Scott's going to have surgery. Life is going to happen. And he's going to need to take time off for 3 to 6 months. So Scott, basically the way it works is if you're on our in-house payment plan, right? Like you would want to maintain that, but we can extend your time. If you're on like a credit payment plan, right? We can extend your time. So we can't really pause the payments, but we can extend your time with us so that it wouldn't, so like you're not losing any time that way. Yep. Great question. Awesome. So if you want to do 40 hours a week and fast track the program, like you can absolutely do that, right? There is nothing to preclude you from doing that. And I've had students qualify for the internship in like 2 days, not 3 months. So you absolutely can do that. And if you know you want to fast track, right? If you do the month to month, so the $397 is a month to month, you can cancel it at any time once you're done. So you can, pay less by working quickly if you know you can. You wouldn't necessarily kick in with the job guarantee though, right? The job guarantee requires the full 12-month commitment of that. So again, totally up to you. Totally up to you. The challenge name, the Tech Joy Challenge Week. But it's the trial. Yep. Great questions. Jabron, awesome. Joining the trial. Love it. Super great. It says on the website to pick your own coding path. Can I do game development, or do you push this down a web-focused front end or back end stack? Great question, Jabron. So I have actually looked into this game development piece because a lot of people are really excited about game development. Here is what I can share with you. We haven't rolled out a game development path, and there's a reason why. Game developers are the most competitive positions. They're the hardest to get, and they are the lowest paid, worst quality of life. In fact, the average time for an EA Games employee, when I looked this stat up, was 9 months. The average time with the company, they literally chewed up developers for dinner and spit them back out. But because gaming is so popular, right, they can do that. And so because of that, because we are really positioning ourselves to help you get a 6-figure job, gaming is not going to be 6 figures. It's going to be 50K or less, right, to get started. And so because of that, and usually it requires 2 to 3 years experience before that. So because of that, we don't have a gaming track. However, everything you learn here can be used towards that. We will advise you on ways to add that capability to your portfolio, right? And in fact, we did have for a long time, we had one of our instructors had spent 20 years in the gaming industry, right? And so we have that ability to advise you on how to actually break into the gaming industry, but it was so bleak, I wouldn't even create the program because I want to set you up for success. And that is you'll want to get a software development job first before applying to the gaming industry. So that's my personal opinion based on everything I've heard. I want to set you up for success, but we can customize your learning path and your internship for your particular goals. Does that make sense? Yeah, awesome. So Jabron was asking about our team. So you're going to get to meet our whole team next week. They're all hosting sessions. And so the team is we have so many senior devs and peer mentors and support staff. It's crazy. I think some of them are here tonight. I think you've been seeing Katrina and Alyssa. Katrina is in charge of the beginning phase of the program. Alyssa is in charge of the internship. And so you've already seen them, and you'll get to get up close and meet them and work with them even more closely next week as part of the trial. So super excited. Yep. And the accountability system's in place. Yes, Jabron, because we want you guys to actually do this, right? And college is set up in a way where accountability is baked in. And with a virtual school like we have to be a lot more intentional about it. And so the accountability system that we use it relies on a weekly check-in. Takes you 5 minutes. We just ask that you submit it once a week. And in that, right, we touch base with you. We're celebrating your wins. We're every phase in the program has an instructor in charge of it who's checking up. So if you're going on vacation, you don't have to tell them. They're just going to know, right? Because you've been talking to them at the Q&As, right? You've been interacting with them. They've been giving you feedback on the code that you're submitting. And so this accountability system also allows us to support you if there's a part of the program, a resource that's available to you that you're not taking advantage of. So for instance, there was someone who's I'm having a real trouble with work-life balance. Well, we actually have a coach for that, right? We're the only program that I know of that actually has a life coach on staff to help work with mindset, performance, leadership, right? So we view each student, we're going to mentor you no matter what the challenge is, whether it's technical or non-technical, because we know that to be honest, the technical stuff is not that hard. It's everything that we allow to get in the way. Life, our inner saboteurs, imposter syndrome, lack of confidence, you name it. Those are the real barriers to success. And so we're going to address that. There's a reason why our students are so successful. And it's not just the training and the internship. It's also because we've invested in our community to help level up, right? All of our thinking and our ability to communicate, to work on a team. So whatever the issue is, we're going to find it and help you address it, if that makes sense. Yep. Super awesome. Yes, Emmanuel, there are specific coaches for each phase of the program, not necessarily for each level of the student, because an expert can come through the program just as easily as a beginner, right? It's just they're going through the phases at a different speed. So it's really by the phase. So when you're a beginner, just learning Python, or when you're advancing into the web programming curriculum, right? There's going to be a different, or when you're trying to pass the tech interview, right? There's going to be a different we call them growth guides. We have a different guide for each of those phases. Yep. Great questions. Awesome question. Oh, Scott's got a really good question. Scott has heard that you have to have strong advanced math skills in calculus to do coding. I love this question. No, it is not true, Scott. So this is a lie that's propagated because the national standards in computer science require calculus. I've got my PhD in computer science. I have done all the things. I have programmed a lot. I can tell you there are 2 places in computer science and software development where calculus is useful. It is in computer graphics and in graduate level theory, computer science theory. So unless you're going to get your PhD or go create the animation software for the next Pixar movie, you don't need calculus. Algebra, right? Most of us took that in high school or middle school. Algebra is sufficient. That is the mathematical expertise that is required. And to be honest, calculus isn't even math, it's physics. That's why it's needed for graphics. Real math is much closer to algebra. I know because I got a master's, a minor in math as a student. So anyways, so yeah, if you do want to do data science though, or AI, probability and statistics definitely help. But again, calc, not required. Not required. Yep, super awesome. Great questions, folks. These are awesome. Scott, do I see big companies hiring programmers with the need to work remotely? Right. So yeah, awesome question. Okay. Most of the students that come to us are looking for remote positions. I have had some students get hired directly into fully remote. However, I don't recommend it for your first position. And there's a couple reasons for this. So let me explain. Again, we're going to support you getting whatever you want, but I just want to tell you, right? Like this is what we're going for here. And that is when you first get hired, you are going to want mentoring to advance in your career. And when you are fully remote, those relationships are harder to build. It's a lot easier when you can opportunistically meet your coworkers in a physical location. So that's reason one. And in fact, the student I know that we helped get a remote position, he shared with me like he couldn't find time to meet with his boss, right? His boss didn't have time for him. So it goes. The other reason is there's a lot of local positions that are effectively remote, where you might only have to go in once a week, once a month, once a year. This is really good because you can build that rapport and start, getting that mentorship that you need and meeting your coworkers, but also it restricts your job hunt. Why is that an advantage? Is because a lot of these small to medium-sized companies, where our students are mostly going to small and medium-sized companies, right? That don't have big training programs. They can't afford to train someone to do this work. They need someone with experience. And so these companies can only hire in certain locations. They can't hire all over the world, right? They can only they're only legally allowed, their HR can only pay people in certain states. And so now you don't have to compete against the world. You're only competing against the people in your geographic location, and that's going to increase your chances of success. So both for your long-term career potential with mentoring, ingratiating yourself with your new employer and finding mentors, working, meeting your coworkers, and also making it easier to get these positions, right? That's what we look for. Yep. Super awesome. Yep. Yes, you can do this. Absolutely. And Oscar, yes, you will make money for sure. Great questions, folks. Oh my goodness, those were awesome. Excellent. Any other questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A. I see Emmanuel asking, Emmanuel, is there a specific point of the program where you talk about going into a specific field like data analyst, or will that be based on how quickly a student individual picks up coding? Great question, Emmanuel. So the mentoring is happening along the way, right? And you can ask questions at any time. You can visit any of the Q&As that we have on the different topics to help you make an informed decision about which direction to go. What usually happens is we have 2 major types of internships. We have the full stack and AI internships, and you have to complete the curriculum for that. We also have a low code internship that we just started piloting this year, and you don't have to complete all the training for that. It doesn't require the same level of technical expertise. You have to learn how to get things working and think like a coder, but you don't need data structures and algorithms and full stack web applications to do that. And so what typically happens is students, they dive into it and they may hit resistance, or life may happen, or they decide they don't really like it as much as they thought, and they can still get meaningful employment experience on their resume for low code tech jobs. These are jobs that don't require coding, where they're helping interface typically with a customer, right? They're more customer and client facing, and they're involving technical skills, but not coding skills, if this makes sense. And so students choose what makes sense for them, and you can change your mind as you get exposed and as you see what it is, right? Because sometimes we don't know right out of the bat what we want to do. Has anyone ever switched their major in college? For sure. And so we want you to make an informed choice. Try something on, feel it out, see what it's like for you, and then if you need to, you can make a switch. All right, super great questions. The tools that we use, we use VS Code, and then various AIs. It's really less about the technology and more about the particular technology, and more about like learning how to work with AI. And there are these different flavors, but it's about AI. Or like it's about learning to solve LeetCode and HackerRank problems, and it doesn't matter the language, right? Like it's really about the thought process behind the problem solving more than the specific technology, because the specific technologies change, right? They're not going to be the same throughout your career. So if we just taught to a technology, we're not serving you, right? So we're teaching to like a category or a class of technology, if that makes sense. Yep. Oscar, what do you believe is the biggest misconception people have about AI? That it's taking away dev jobs. That it's the silver bullet. It's a game changer for sure. And it's definitely replacing jobs. It's just not the technical ones, right? Like it's evolving the technical jobs. It's actually taking away. I know a lot of people went into tech to avoid human interaction, and that's basically what it's taking away, is that now you have to actually work with other people. That's the part. It's taking away like some of the fun of the job, to be honest. It depends. How much you like the grunt work of coding. That's what it's taking away. Awesome questions. Oscar, it is said that hybrid correlation is the paradox built over the years. Is this true to my knowledge? Okay, I haven't researched or been exposed to this hybrid correlation, or at least I haven't heard it called that. So happy to continue that conversation on the side. I'd have to Google and do some research on that. I might even know what it is. I just haven't heard it called that. So I don't know without checking. Awesome sauce, folks. Great questions. Wonderful. Oh my goodness, guys. These were such great questions. Okay, I'm going to put in the chat one last time the link to sign up for the trial. Let's see. I don't know if we might even have had some folks checking things out. Excellent. We've had a couple people sign up for the trial. Super awesome, folks. Can't wait to see more of you in the trial this week. Awesome sauce, folks. If you do have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and please have patience with us. We value responding to you as humans. We do not have any AI bots responding to your messages. Yes, I automatically send out messages to all of you, but the responses, when you like give us questions and ask questions, we take the time to answer them with a real human, which means they might be delayed. We are not going to respond instantly because we're humans. we're not AI. So we give you the courtesy of actually respecting your question enough to have a human answer it. It's kind of how we roll across the academy. We use automations where we can, but when it's a human interaction, human engagement, we prefer actual humans. And so just please have patience. But yes, it's usually me and my team. We're all answering your questions. There are real humans in there. I know there's a lot of questions at the beginning of this webinar. Is it live? Are these real people? Yes, it is live. Yes, there's real people. Oh my goodness. So good, folks. There will be a replay. I'll be sending it out tomorrow once it's done. Okay. Yeah. So Emmanuel, I would totally jump on for the trial just so you can participate in the challenge next week, at least to see the sessions live and ask questions. and just take some time off from the move. Like, you can listen to it while you're packing, while you're carrying stuff, right? Like, I would definitely recommend it for sure. Excellent. Great questions. Awesome. Chris, I'm so excited to have you in the challenge next week. It's going to be awesome. Super awesome, folks. So it has been an absolute pleasure working with you guys tonight. Thank you for the amazing questions. It was just absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to see you next week in the trial. I think the challenge, it's going to be so incredible. Again, if any other questions come up, don't hesitate to reach out. Me and my team are standing by to help answer them. All right. And stay tuned for more. We're always hosting trainings, and we look forward to seeing you soon. All right. Have a great rest of your night, folks. Peace. Take care.